Chris and Brian here from Resolve Technology. Let's go! Chris is going to talk about caching issues in Google Chrome or just browse in general, and a couple news articles that he had noticed about how to improve your performance, because nowadays there's so many applications that run within the browser. We see a lot of issues there, right, Chris?
Yeah, there's tons of. I mean, I run into them all the time. That's kind of like an inside joke with us. Did you clear your cache, Chris? And anyways, so yeah, Google released the browser running into browser issues like cache related issues. We noticed that Google Chrome reduced cookie requests to improve performance. They also mentioned that they were astonished to discover that 87% of cookie accesses were redundant and that in some cases they happen hundreds of times per second. Now, I don't know, Brian, maybe you want to mention what exactly a cookie is. It's tracking some, it has to do with there's a few different things that go into what exactly cookies are and why we cache that local, the temporary storage with and all that good stuff.
So basically, without getting technical, it's just different files that live on could be one file, could be multiple files that live on your machine that basically talk to the servers and things like that and store information temporarily. Almost like you can think of it as like you have hardware memory. It's in some ways supposed to speed things up, make things faster. But like Chris is mentioning here, it depends on the situation. Sometimes it can slow you down if it's making too many calls back and forth from client to server and things. So yeah, I mean, that's it. That's it in a nutshell. But what we find is, especially with like the Microsoft 365 portals, sometimes you have to go into incognito mode because of cookie cache, because caching issues. Cookies also store like proprietary information for websites and things like that. Could be your SaaS applications, could be things like Dropbox or whatever. So, I mean, yeah, go ahead and take it from there, Chris.
Yeah. So essentially, though, some of the reasons, there's dozens and dozens of reasons, but one of these other sites here mentioned some of the big ones. You got outdated browser software. So the browser itself is out of date. You can see on mine here, you see this little yellow arrow because I didn't close out of it when I got off late last night and I didn't close out of it yet. So it hasn't applied an update. So you want to always make sure that's up to date. Now in Edge, you can come here to settings and go to About Edge. See, same thing with Chrome. You do the same thing on Google Chrome. Should I open that, Brian, and show them?
Yeah, if you want, maybe if you show where you can clear the cache on exit also. Like when you close the browser, you can automatically clear out certain parts of the browser cache.
So right here on my screen, you'll see clear browsing data. Now in Edge and Chrome, you see at the top of my screen here, you can actually get here from this URL. I can copy this URL. So this :/settings/privacy will bring me right back to this page. So you can actually bookmark it, or if you got really good memory, I guess, sometimes that could come in handy because not all the time do we like to click around and click in here and do this and that. But this clear browsing data option. So you can clear your browsing data now. Typically what I do is I go choose what to clear because a lot of clients, we don't recommend this, but they store passwords and credit cards and everything in the browser itself. When I clear all that out, that can mess them up. I'm not even a lot of them complain about like web history too, because they're like, oh, I usually just have to hit the letter A and it goes to their Altus portal or some mechanic site. But I'd come in here and you can choose what to clear. And this says choose what to clear every time you close the browser. So like for me right now, it's just download history and passwords. I mean, there are no passwords, but I could check cache, cookies, and then you can add sites not to clear, autofill, and then site permissions, which could be like you allow your microphone on this, say you use Google Meet through the browser or Teams through the browser. You have to allow your webcam and your camera and your microphone through the browser, and that would be something that would fall under site permission.
Inevitably, at some point, like Chris says, you can be selective with it, and maybe you don't want it automatically cleared every time you close the browser. But at some point, everybody's got to clear out all the junk in there because over time, you start having different portal issues and different websites. So it's just a matter of time. We all end up clearing out the cache at some point, but you might be able to go, who knows, months without an issue, but then suddenly it'll crop up and then Chris gets a call and the only way he can fix that sort of issue is to clear out the cache.
Yep. Also, another thing, extensions, outdated. They usually just update themselves, but if you go into your little, it looks like a puzzle icon. If you click manage extensions, you can also get Edge :// extension. But I believe you're the one that told me this, Brian. I've never actually saw it, but it might say update or updating if there's a extension update.
Yeah.
Isn't that, we mentioned that in a previous video?
Yeah, we mentioned that in a previous video. But as far as caching, do we have anything else as far as caching
Yeah,
goes
so-
that they mentioned in the article?
Yeah, so they mentioned, let's see, the developer tools you can go into. We're not gonna, that's a little technical. That's like a whole nother topic we could do. But incognito. So people love to test with incognito. It's important to note that I've seen this before where people like their ad blocker all the time. So their uBlock Origin, you can set extensions that will run in incognito. While it might be convenient, it may get in your way when diagnosing some kind of caching issue. Say it's tied to like something with uBlock Origin. If you're allowing the extension incognito, it's preventing you from really diagnosing the problem, which is fine to use those extensions incognito. But incognito alone, I've had that caching issues incognito too. You have to just reboot the machine, physically clear your browser data, stuff like that.
Yeah. Good point. So, because you mentioned ad blockers, we do recommend ad blockers because it can block a lot of this junk from even entering your computer. So we do recommend that. But this is a totally separate thing where you want to, from time to time, clear out the cache. And Chris wanted to make sure people knew about that. So, hey, thanks a lot, Chris.
All right, have a good one.
You too. Bye.